2024 has been the best year, I really do believe this, of my entire life. And I feel fortunate that I've gotten to stack a lot of those beliefs in the last several years, not just for what I do professionally, but also for personally. And I am thankful for all of you and the growth that we have seen in OutKick, the support that you have shown for all of our programs across the board, for you in the audience, for the work that everybody has put forward across the entire OutKick team. I am thankful for all of that. I am thankful very much for the election results that we just saw that so many of us worked so hard to help make possible. I also want all of you, I hope in your own lives with your friends and family, to have everything going well. I feel very thankful. I have 3 happy kids, healthy kids, a wife who tolerates me, at least so far, 20 years in, and I just feel immeasurably blessed. And I hope whatever is going on in your life that you are able to take some moments to be thankful for the fact that we live in the greatest country that's ever existed in the history of the world is an immense gratitude that I don't think I can ever possibly repay for people who made this possible. I said a little bit about this on Clay and Buck, but for those of you who don't know, my background, my grandfather, who I was named after, had an 8th grade education. Born in 1905 in Muhlenberg County, Kentucky, worked in a coal mine, came down to Nashville, where I live now, to work in a factory at DuPont. Worked his whole life in that factory. Again, 8th grade education. Never got on an airplane his entire life. Neither he nor my grandmother ever stepped foot on an airplane. I'm named after him thanks to the incredible wealth of opportunity that the United States has given me. I may buy an airplane in 2025 if my wife lets me. I'm not even kidding about this. I'm shopping for jets, okay? I don't know very many places where the opportunity can be so profound that a guy who had an 8th grade education can have a grandson who, because of the opportunities that he provided me, was able to first be born to my dad, who was able to go to college first in the family for us because of what my grandfather did working in a factory, to then my dad give me the opportunity to be able to go off to college, get a law degree, found a media company. And in the space of a couple of generations, we've gone from an 8th grade education Kentucky coal miner who never stepped foot on an airplane in his entire life and barely took a day off in his entire life, to me thinking about buying a friggin' jet. I mean, how amazing is that? It's the American dream, regardless of where you start, to be able to give your kids and your grandkids the opportunity to have success that, frankly, you could have never even dreamed of. And one reason that I don't try to take very much time off, and even when I'm not on air talking to all you guys, I'm working a lot. And one reason I've never had a sick day in my entire radio career, I used to joke, we would start at 5 a.m. Central. When I was hosting the show solo, I said, what happens if I'm sick? We never had a fallback. I showed up even when I felt like crap, because if my grandfather could work in a coal mine, I can sit in front of a freaking microphone and talk to you guys no matter what's going on. Now, inevitably, I'm going to get super sick and not be able to work on Monday now and do the shows, but so far it's never happened. And that's because I feel an immense sense of gratitude and personal thanks that this country exists and that it has allowed my family to, in the space of a couple of generations, go from an 8th grade education to a situation where every kid and grandkid that I'm ever going to know, I'm going to be able to pay for them to go and get whatever advanced educational achievement they could ever dream of. And I don't think there are very many countries like America where that could have happened. And I shared two stories on Clay and Buck, but I do think they're emblematic of the opportunity this country has and of what is there if you will just go grab it and step forward and try to take advantage of the opportunities out there instead of sitting around and whining. I was watching last night why I love sports. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens got the win. The Harbaugh brothers are coaching against each other. Ravens got the win. And Lamar Jackson works out in a T-shirt that says, "Nobody cares, work harder." I just love it. Nobody cares, work harder. I love that message. It's DBAP personified. But I've got a couple of buddies, a lot of buddies actually, who are first-generation American. Probably not going to surprise you. I went to a public school, Martin Luther King, here in Nashville. That is a magnet school. You get test scores. You come in. There's a lot of first-generation kids there, immigrant kids. Went to GW, a lot of first-generation immigrant kids there. Vanderbilt Law School, a lot of first-generation immigrant kids there. Why are first-generation immigrant kids outperforming multi-generational American kids? Because their families see opportunity and they grab it. And there were two recent stories that I heard from those families, buddies of mine. One of them said, his family's from India, said when his dad came to this country, went into an electronics store, you were the wealthiest person in his village if you even thought about having a television. And right there, he stood in front of these banks of television and thought, what a country. Anybody can just walk in off the street and you can have a normal job and you can buy one of these televisions and take it home to where you live. Just a little illustration. I don't think most people recognize how incredibly fortunate we are to live in the wealthiest, most successful country that has ever existed in the history of the world. But if you went outside this country and were forced to live as most of the people in the rest of the world live, you would never utter another negative word about America for the rest of your life. I really believe this. You would step off of that airplane if you had to go to much of Asia, much of Africa, much of Latin America, and live as the average person does there. You would kiss the ground beneath your feet when you stepped off that airplane because you are so wealthy. You have no idea how fortunate you are to have been born here and have the opportunity to live in America. Second part of that story, and I was laughing about this recently. One of my buddy's dads doesn't like how often his kids and his grandkids now use Uber. And he was complaining. He's like, you guys don't even know how rich you are. You've all got cars, and you've decided that it's inconvenient for you to have to drive the cars that you have bought to the restaurants or bars that you want to go to because you can't find an easy parking place and you might have to walk a little ways. Do you even know how spoiled you are? And this kind of hit me on the solar plexus because I take Ubers everywhere. That you would just be like, nah, that expensive car that I bought, I don't really want to take it out because it's not going to be convenient enough for me to go to a place where I'm going to go spend more money. That's how wealthy America is. Most people will never own a car probably in the entire world. We have decided that owning cars is too inconvenient because we can't park close enough to the place where we want to go spend more money. Just think a little bit about the perspective. Whatever your life circumstances are, if you are watching or listening to this, I guarantee you have a great deal to be profoundly grateful for. And so on this Thanksgiving, I want to thank all of you for helping me to be able to live in the space of just a couple of generations from a guy I'm named after, Clay Travis, who was an 8th grade dropout working in a Kentucky coal mine, to now running a media company, getting to sit in front of a microphone and tell you exactly what I think, only in America indeed. And I want to finish today's show in advance of Thanksgiving by not only saying that I'm thankful for all of you, but that what we're seeing at OutKick and many different media companies out there is a seismic change in the impact and influence of media today. And I think why you're seeing so much panic from the Washington Post, New York Times, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN. I saw the other day where in the most recent weeks, Fox News has 73% of all news viewership on cable. 73%. 14%, I think it was, for like MSNBC, 13% for CNN. Their audiences have all vanished. Why? Because over time, you may not agree with me. You may not agree with everybody at OutKick, but you do appreciate the fact that we're going to try to our best of our ability to be honest with you. And so as I finish this show today, in advance of Thanksgiving, I have tremendous thanks and gratitude for so many things out there. But I want to close with something that should have gotten a lot of attention that you may not have heard from anybody else. The 2024 election, which just finished, won thankfully by Donald J. Trump, was the least racially polarized election in 50 years in the United States. That is, people from all variety of background, black, white, Asian, and Hispanic, voted in a least and less racially divisive manner than in any election we've had going all the way back to 1964. To basically a pre-civil rights America voting. Now look, you can vote Republican. You can vote Democrat. You can vote independent. You cannot even vote at all. One of the things I'm proud of, 5 different people told the story on the radio show today of voting for the very first time, not young people, high 30s, 40s, 50s, 60, never voted before. They came out and they voted Trump. Different racial backgrounds. America is the greatest country that has ever existed. And I am incredibly thankful that black, white, Asian, and Hispanic, all different backgrounds, people are coming together on the idea that America is truly great, that we can make it even greater, and that we will all be able to create a better country for our kids and our grandkids than the one that we have all been fortunate enough to grow up in. I believe it. I'm thankful for it. I've seen it in my own life, from an 8th grade dropout grandpa who never got on an airplane to his grandson potentially deciding to buy his own airplane, all thanks to the glory of this great country. Amen. I'm thankful. Love all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I am Clay Travis. This has been OutKick the Show. I'll see all of you guys again on Monday. Have great Thanksgivings with your friends and family. Oh, and by the way, don't lose friends or family relationships over how people voted. 64% of you said you're going to sit down for a Thanksgiving dinner with somebody who has a different political vote in the presidential election you believe than how you voted. If, however, you do decide to talk about politics, I would encourage all of you to say, hey, you know what? I like this guy, Clay Travis. I like this site, OutKick. One of the reasons I voted the way that I did is because I like them. I think you'll like them too. Number one way we have grown, word of mouth. Never paid for an ad in my entire life. I started with an audience of 0. Last month, ComScore said I think we had 10 million people on the site. That's low, but that's what they said. That's because of you guys. I'm thankful for you. Thanks again. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I will see you Monday. And now I'm going to record the fade with Kelly Stewart and hopefully make you guys a lot of money in gambling. Let's go get some wins. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the family. And thank you for supporting OutKick.